And I'm researching about game AI. There are many games. Do you know video games? In some games, you can play with computer player, and that is AI player. And we research to enhance the performance of these AI players or to make such AI players more enjoyable for a human player to contribute to the human enjoyment. Yes. Many researchers have researched about the computer player, including chess. And chess program developed is more strong about the human advanced player. And there are many other video games about action video games. These are many types of games like first-person shooting games or some fighting games. And in these games, game AI is not stronger than the human players. This is a screenshot of fighting games. In these games, sorry, video is not working, so but that is a two-player game, and there are some games, and each player control one of the character and make fight against each other. And this is a real-time games, and game state changing frequently. But this fighting games is difficult for AI player because some possible actions contain some triangular relationships among them, and kick attack is effective against throwing action, and throwing action is effective against guard action, and guard action is effective against kick action. Such kind of triangular relationships make such fighting game AI difficult. And there is a cognitive delay for human players in the fighting games because that is a real-time games. And and the game set changing frequently and very minutely, so the ordinary three such approach is difficult in these games. So I will introduce about some existing approaches. As first, learning-based AIs in fighting games. They use online learning techniques to fight with human. They estimate the environment system like state transition or reward from the transition, or estimate the opponent's action pattern like opponent modeling, and exploit the estimated patterns of the player. And this player can fight adaptively against the current opponent. That is the advantage of this player. But this player has some drawbacks, and I will omit the detail, but this player tends to execute some very simple action patterns. They rarely use powerful sequential actions, but they tend to associate one atomic action to one game state. So that is a drawback of learning AI. And second approach is rule-based AI that works with the if-then rules by the heuristic rules, and that takes effective sequential action by heuristic codings. But their action patterns tend to fix because they are heuristic rules. So easily to be exploited. That is a drawback. So the purpose of my research is implement an AI which combines the advantages of rule-based AI and learning-based AIs. That is our approach overview. We prepare some multiple rule-based AIs, and each of them are heuristic coded and make powerful action patterns, but their action patterns are fixed. And one by one, the proposed method tries the inside rule-based AIs against the opponent player. That is the online process. And after that, the most effective AI player fights against the current opponent for a long time period. And if the opponent player changes their strategy and the selected AI player becomes useless against the opponent player, in that case, our proposed method again tries each inside rule-based player one by one and decides the most effective AI, and the effective AI fight against the current opponent for a long time. In this way, our proposed AI can use some heuristic powerful action patterns of the rule-based AI, and at the same time, our AI has some flexibility, adaptivity against the opponent player by picking out the effective rule-based AIs. And so, how do you decide the most effective AI? What is the most effective AI against opponent player? We can observe the amount of damage during the fight period, but sometimes not effective AIs may cause large damages against the opponent player, or vice versa. Some very effective AI might cause very little damages against the opponent player sometimes. So the process is some stochastic, including some randomness. So we apply some mathematical UCB algorithm to decide the next AI player chosen from the proposed method. Sorry, we don't have much time, so sorry, I will omit the detail, but yeah. Our method tries to maximize our expected reward. And reward is the amount of damage. That is our definition. And our method tries to always maximize the expected reward from the fighting process. That is some detailed explanation, but sorry, I will omit. And we did an experiment in some one minute. We did some experiments in the fighting ICE platform. That is a platform for fighting game AI, and our proposal method obtained the highest score among them, and that is a learning curve, learning history. The borderline is sorry, I will omit the details. But
we are going to work on application of parallel processing architecture using graphical processing unit in finance. According to Moore's law, the number of transistors in a dense integrated circuit will double after every 2 years. So there will be a limit in the miniaturization of the transistors. So to increase the computation, parallel processing is used. So one of the most effective processors to use is the parallel processing. GPU has, and to use the parallel processing, graphic processing unit can be used. And GPU has emerged as a massive parallel architecture for fulfilling the large computation requirements. So what are GPUs? GPUs were designed to speed the architecture, to speed the texture operation, which is so essential in advanced 3D graphics. So they have very high arithmetic intensity. The engine of GPU has been simple and easy to replicate to reduce data parallelism. And GPUs can be used in financial simulation, image processing, modeling, and various other fields. CUDA architecture, which is especially implemented for GPUs, can be used for this process.
Hello, good afternoon. So let's do literature review. Literature review first. The author, Jerry Hong, experimentally shows how parallel processing is better in terms of time and calculation than sequential processing. He analyzes the risk and the price associated with computational finance. And with his experiment, he shows that using a software PixGrid, which runs on Java libraries, and he shows that using 140 systems on PixGrid, he can decrease the time by in a multiple of 90. So suppose a process used to take 90 days for its completion. Using parallel processing, we can accomplish it in a single day. Second literature review. The author, Hilgard Gial, shows the demands and talks about the needs of parallel processing in finance. He talks about how financial activities such as portfolio management, intraday trading, which requires time series analysis over big data to capture the needs, patterns, series, so that we can take an informed decision. When we talk about trading in finance, nowadays a new kind of trading is taking place. High frequency algorithmic trading. Usually in trading, if you implement your algorithm as fast as you can possible, you get the more benefit, more profit. So with that, using parallel processing, you can implement the algorithm in a nanosecond. So these are the scenarios where you can see the worth of parallel processing. Picture review 3. The author Gray compares the GPU library code with CPU library codes, normal CPUs. And he proposed GPUs in Quantilib, a library written in C++ specifically for quantitative finance. And he proved that GPU libraries are better than CPUs, normal CPU libraries, by using the quantitative applications on financial formulas and instruments such as Black-Scholes formula, Monte Carlo, bonds, and repo rate. Thank you. And I hand over the presentation to Mr. Foster.
Thank you, David. As you all heard, that parallel processing is increasing the speed of our computation. But what we don't really know is whether it's really important. Financial world today employs high-frequency trading. High-frequency trading uses millions of dollars of transactions within nanoseconds. And this shows how time-intensive our applications really need to be. And for this, we need better algorithms, and also with better algorithms, we need better architectures which parallel processing provides us with. The computational power of private computers that firms use today are just not sufficient enough. They also have had an option to change their computation power to supercomputers. However, that was not found to be cost effective, and thus came parallel processing. Recently, practitioners and mathematicians and engineers are engaged on to harness the optimum powers of parallel processing. Researchers from domains and trade are finding parallel algorithms. Algorithms up till now have only been developed for sequential processing. In order to employ the optimality of parallel processing, we need better algorithms designed specifically for parallel processing. This was actually a survey study, which finally compared between parallel processing and serial processing. Parallel processing was definitely faster than serial processing. This also decreased the wait time for processes. Parallel processing architectures were built on the notion to be scalable and thus can employ better future applications. There was also the most important part that came out, surprisingly, was the accuracy, which was not expected. Accuracy because when we perform forecasting methods, the greater number of data that we can study gives the better accuracy. Because parallel processing was faster, it was also more accurate. This was the surprising result that we got. In conclusion, I say that using parallel processing architecture, we have not only speed but also accuracy and scalability. Yet, we do not have efficient algorithms which can totally use or harness the optimal power of parallel processing. However, our hardware architectures also are not specifically designed for parallel processing, since we still use the traditional or conventional methods of serial processing.
Thank you, students.